B on
You're hot.
Sports 910.
All right, Cardinals and 49ers this week. Howard Balzer now on the right to it, a guest line. And Howard, I want to start with this. Is there anything that could happen outside of an injury that would prevent Kyler Murray from not being the starter next season? Anything in the next 4 games that would deter that?
I don't think there's anything in the next 4 games, but even what I wrote this week on GoPHNX.com is that you still don't know deep down what the Cardinals are thinking, despite all their accolades and great things they're saying about him, because you still always have that sneaking suspicion that this could be all Academy Awards. Now, maybe not suspicion, but you can't rule out that this is all Academy Awards stuff because they want to pump up his value in a trade. And the only way to do that is for him to play pretty good football, which he has, and to stay healthy, and for someone to take that contract off their plate. I still believe that everyone's been on the up and up, but I don't think these final 4 games determine a whole lot, unless he would go out there and just be horrible. But I don't anticipate that happening either. And a lot of obviously how a quarterback plays is dependent on how the people around him are playing.
And I had a chance to read your piece, outstanding piece, Howard, in reference to that. You referenced a lot of the money, cap hit, space, and all that kind of stuff. But don't you think deep down inside, and I agree with you, a lot of great fodder for him. Hey, we love him. He's the best, all the above. And sometimes I wonder if I hear too much good about somebody that there's something there. But do you think deep down inside they've already made their decision with Kyler Murray?
I think pretty much they have. And I wrote that. I said they probably have. They might very well made the decision that, hey, he's going to be our guy. And certainly it makes to at least, play it out for another year. And so then you give him that entire offseason where he's working on football instead of rehab, and then improve the players around him more in the offseason and really be able to get a better evaluation. And then if for some reason you would decide after that to potentially move on, the contract is not bad for another team to take it off their plate. And, one thing I always react to, guys, when people say, well, you got these quarterbacks coming out this year. You got these well, there's quarterbacks every year. I mean, it's not like there won't be quarterbacks in 2025 if that is the direction that they want to go. But like I said, I think, and to what you said, mostly everything they say about him is when we ask the question. Mm-hmm. Now, when I say we in the media, whether it's us locally, whether it's Adam Schefter, whoever. And so, but they've got their answers ready. They know we're going to answer the questions, and then they do it. But, to the level that what Drew Petzing said the other day, he went beyond just saying, hey, we're happy with him. He said a lot of things in there that really give you the feeling that they are committed to him at least, going forward for another season, which I think makes all the sense in the world myself personally.
Howard, let me follow up then. If indeed that is the case and Kyler is QB number 1, do they stay in your estimation if it is the number 3 pick, or do they look to trade down and acquire more players that they so need desperately?
Well, I think either is possible. And you can't say on December 14th what it's going to be, because everybody thinks they know who the first 2 players in the draft are, and everybody acts like this is done, it's finished. Well, it's not. There's a lot of time between now and the end of April, and so who knows? There might be another quarterback or 2 that emerge, and so certainly if you are at 3, and it's possible you might be at 2, then you look at all your options. You look at the players that are there and who you feel can come in and help you. But if there's another team, you're always looking to trade down, I think, and especially if there's quarterbacks there, whatever. I mean, if you can get more picks and where you trade down to, you can still get one of those top-level players that can help you, then you do that, just like they did last year, where what did they trade? They went from 3 to 12 and then back to 6 and ended up with Harris Johnson Jr. So there's offensive linemen in this draft. There's there's other wide receivers, by the way, everybody, besides Marvin Harris. And so there's a lot of different positions that you could potentially look for. But there's a lot of time between now and the end of April, and you also have free agency. I mean, who knows? The Cardinals, the way the projections are, you're going to have about $55 million in cap space, and that includes Kyler Murray, if he's on the roster, $51 million hit. So you're going to have a lot of cap space to do some things that, who knows? Who knows what they might do. What's going to be interesting, I think, in terms of down the stretch, it might be more to a guy like Hollywood Brown, who did practice today. Haven't seen yet whether it was limited, but I was a little surprised he was on the field, and he's trying to play through this foot injury, which has really affected him. And he's a free agent after this season. And so what's going to happen, with him? So these last 4 games might be more to him than it does to Kyler Murray. But if Hollywood Brown moves on, then that really accentuates the need at wide receiver that they have, even with a healthy Michael Wilson and the other guys they have on the roster.
Howard, from what you can gather, what is the mantra moving forward? I know evaluation might be one of those. You talked about the receiving core. Kyler Murray seems to be very tight endish with these games, not because of the injuries with the receivers, but from what you can gather, kind of a game plan for the last 4 games leading into the draft and the off season. Did anything stick out in particular for you as you inquire?
I think it's kind of general, the one thing I will say is that a lot of times when you're in the midst of a season that you're at 3-10, and you got guys who are already looking forward to getting the heck out of here when the season ends and just playing out the string and all those things. I don't get that sense from this team, and certainly the coaches are not approaching it that way. And what they're looking for, just to basically answer your question, is just for there to be continued improvement from players, the ones that are playing, because decisions are going to be made on these guys, a lot of these guys, after the season in terms of their contract. And who do you move forward with? On the defensive line with a lot of different guys that have played. I'll tell you, I was looking at the outside linebackers today at practice, and you're amazed because of all the stuff that's happened to them. They've had the same 6 guys at outside linebacker that opened the season. They're still there. They've had virtually no injuries in that group, except for when Javen Collins, got poked in the eye in a game. And they've had the same 6 out there the entire year. But you want to see, again, improvement from that group and just continue trying to get better. And I think overall, that's the goal of the coaches. That's the goal of the players. So you go into 2024, having real good feelings about the guys that you want back on this team next season.
Howard, our last question. Look at your crystal ball. Next December, will we be talking about the personnel, or will we be talking about the game that's going to be played the upcoming Sunday? If we move ahead to December 14th, 2024, you're on the program. Are we talking about the game, or are we talking about the personnel for the following season?
I think we're going to be talking about the game, and I'll say that for this reason. When you look around the NFL right now, there are 13 teams in this league that are either 7-6 or 6-7, right? And 3 of those 6 and 7 teams are tied for first place in the NFC South. So the Cardinals have only won 3 less games than all those 6-win teams. So you make the right moves in the offseason and improve here, there, and wherever. And if you enter this time of the year next year with 6 or 7 wins, well, it's not great, but you're still in the hunt, and you're still feeling, and you're showing improvement, you're showing progress. So and you're winning some of those close games that you lost. And so I think we'll be talking about the game. We'll be talking about personnel, but I don't think it'll be in the whole thing of, oh my goodness, this is going to be a team that'll have a top 3 pick again. You never know, but I think they're going to be better than that next season.
Good stuff, Howard. Thanks, buddy. Have a good weekend.
You too, guys. Take care.
HBalzer721, HBalzer721 on Twitter, but go check out his piece on Kyler Murray at Go PHNX. Appreciate him joining us, and he is brought to you by our Twin Peaks Fan Pick'em. Never too late. You can get in for tonight's Chargers